Hey, everybody. Hey, this is uninvited, unintentional. This is, I've just been watching these freaky snowstorms. Let me see if I can bring it up here for you. Am I streaming already? Let me see. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Now, that is around Lafayette, Louisiana. They don't have snow in Lafayette, Louisiana. Sue and I used to boondock there at a place called the Screaming Eagle. Look at that. This is nuts. There's another one. Let me see if I can find it. It's in New Orleans. I got it here somewhere. I don't know where. It's been a long time since I've used this setup, so I kind of forgot where things are at. Plus, StreamYard has made a lot of changes that I have to figure out. Hi, Kathy. Oh, I guess chat's going. How long you guys been on here? Like I said, I've been trying to figure a lot of this stuff out because they changed things. Kevin's on here. Patrick, Marcia, Jerry. C-Car says 15 degrees somewhere. He just jumped on me. Southern Illinois. 15 degrees Southern Illinois. High school from Michigan. Cindy. By the way, you guys can call me if you want. The phone's all set up. Bluetooth is on. Let me see if I... Did you guys get the phone number during the intro? I didn't even pay no attention to that either. I am so good at this. I have a phone number somewhere. Because I don't even know what the phone number is. You want to know the truth? Well, come on. Hello, go ahead.
Mr. Skip, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. Hey, what's my phone number?
913-5366.
I don't know. StreamYard's changed things. I ain't been on here in a long while, and it is so different to what it used to be. I know I've got my phone number on the intro or one of the intros. I don't know if I played the right one or not because I forgot to check. But anyway, I'm just checking this snow. Are you watching some of this?
Yes, sir, I certainly will. I'm in here cooking, freezing my tail off over here in Fruitland Park. So I put together a pot of chili, and we got some brownies going in the oven, and got a couple of cold beers getting ready to come out of the freezer. So that's a little contradictory on you, but what are you going to do?
No, hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, my wife would call chili and meatloaf and vegetable soup as winter food.
Well, I'm a Florida cracker, sir. I ain't never seen no snow and don't want to. So it's as cold as I want it out there right now.
Well, what you see right there is just about the way it is. It's just freaky to me that I've got a cousin who lives in Rockport, Texas. Now, that's down there on the Gulf of what's soon to be called America. And he's right on the Gulf down there. And he just sent us pictures. There's snow down there.
Back in 1977, the day that Jimmy Carter got inaugurated into office, it had a little bit of teeny snow flurry down in Miami, and my dog's water bowl that we left outside, it froze solid, and that was the coldest I had ever seen it. But keep in mind, I was like 10 years old back then. So, but yeah, this weather changing, like you were just showing there. I heard that in downtown Louisiana, right there, they're skiing down Bourbon Street.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some of that stuff in Louisiana on here. That's the small thing there, but I'm trying to get the other one on here too, so you can see. Yeah, I was watching some of that stuff down there, and I just said, man, this is nuts. What's going on here?
We're supposed to have global warming. It's a little bit backfiring. What's going on? Exactly, like you said.
Well, that whole global warming thing, I'm not saying that it's not real. Maybe it is to somewhat, but to me, it's just, it's all been about money. It's just a way that they can, I don't know what the government does. I mean, who can figure out the government anymore? It's just wacko crazy.
It's all become, it's not a government anymore. It's a business, which it was never intended to be. And it's only the rich people that's getting at the top, and everybody else is going to stay at the bottom, if not a little bit lower than that. That's the only way I can see it's going to happen.
Well,
That trickle down thing didn't happen at all, did it?
well, let me say, back in the day when was it Ronald Reagan that started that, the trickle down
Yep.
theory?
Yes, sir.
Well, I owned a trucking company when he started that, and the only thing I can tell you is that trickle down theory trickled me right out the door.
Right? See, I was a trucker back. Not it was quite a bit after that, but for several years I used to run out of Port of Miami. We used to haul 55-gallon drums of A1 sauce that they make down in Mexico, and
Yeah.
we used to haul it up to New Jersey, and in Edison, New Jersey, we drop it off and we hook on to bottled A1 sauce and take that out, usually out to Lansing, Michigan, and then from there you leave out of there not knowing what you was pulling out of there, but. That some type of financial things happened. The company I was working for was called Two Brothers down in Miami, and they got into a financial bind. And one day we went to work and said, "Here's your last paycheck. Sorry, whole thing, but we owe you a bit. Have a good day." That was the end of that. You know?
Well, like I said, I wasn't the only one. I felt kind of bad about it. I always felt like, well, I'm not a very good businessman because you're supposed to be able to predict these things when they happen before they happen. And I didn't see it coming. The next thing I know, we're selling everything off to pay off all of our debt, and we were done. I mean, it was. And then that same year, if you remember, Yellow Freight was at that time the largest LTL company in America. Roadway was next to them. They all filed bankruptcy, and that's how we got YRC because they had to combine those two companies just to even survive. And I think a few years ago, that company ended up going under.
Well, when I got out of the trucking thing there, I started getting the restaurant business, and what followed right after that was Hurricane Andrew come and wiped us out down there in South Florida and Homestead. And to make it really special, the insurance company went bankrupt, and we were in condominiums where you own the condo, but you didn't own the land under. It was one of the 99-year lease BS things they had, and we ended up for about 14 months. We paid on a mortgage onto a place that we went to. We was trespassing.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And see, people don't over there in the villages. You guys are lucky enough to own your land, but the thing is, back then our houses, a 3-bedroom back then was $70,000-$80,000 down there in South Florida. You can't touch a place in there now less than about close to $500,000.
No, that's
so
true. That's
you got to
true.
realize that over in the villages, $70,000-$80,000 that won't even buy your garage over there.
Yeah.
So if a real hurricane comes through Class 5 and hits the villages, I can't imagine. There's no even the major insurance companies couldn't sustain billions. Look what's happening out there that they dumped their fire premiums right before the fire come through out there, supposedly out west.
Well, you know as well as I do in Florida, that happened once here.
Well, it's happened several times. I mean, it gets to the point where money is more than what the insurance has got supposedly stashed away, and then sorry guys, you made all your payments, but you got to go.
I think that's where you guys down here started nicknaming State Farm as Snake Farm.
Yep. Well, there's one.
I can remember that when we came down here. We was looking at property way back then, and I was asking people. I said, "Where does most of the people get their insurance?" Because I've been with State Farm in Indiana for 30 years, and of course, with State Farm, you got all them discounts year to year to year. My insurance was so low to get full coverage that nobody could touch it. And the guy told me, he said, "Oh." He said, "Well, down here," he said, "you don't want to go to Snake Farm." I said, "What? What'd you call it?" He said, "Snake Farm." After that hurricane, when State Farm pulled out of Florida, I don't think most of regular Florida residents have much respect for Snake Farm anymore.
Well, I can tell you this: I bought this house over here in Fruitland Park in 2015. I was very fortunate. I got it for $52,000 back then. It's a commercial property, actually. And I've got the 2 insurance companies that have covered me right here. One of them, you're probably familiar with them. One of them is known as Smith & Wesson, and the other one is an Italian company named Beretta.
I'm very familiar with them.
And I got you want to come over here and think you're going to take my property from me over here? look, I'm in my 60s now. I ain't got nothing to lose. I'm close enough to the grave. If you want to help me get there, well, you're going with me.
Yeah. Well, I'm watching the things here about people talking about the price of houses and everything. I've been watching some things that I'm not a real estate person in any way, but I've invested a lot over the years in buying houses and fixing them up and selling them. And just from what I'm seeing, every real estate person around here is talking about how the inventory of homes for sale, not just here in villages, but in the state of Florida, is a record high. I'm not sure what that's telling us.
Well, it gets to the point. Here's what I really has always puzzled me, Skip. You got all those houses over there in the villages that's all dedicated to retirement people. And these days, people ain't putting no retirement money away. So what's going to happen in 25, 30 years over there?
Well, I can tell you, it's happening right now. It's happening up in the older Spanish Springs area. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what the majority is what's happening. Old people stay here. They call them frogs. You know that. They stay here till they die. But when they die, some grandkid somewhere inherits that house. That grandkid comes down here. He's 30, 40 years old. He moves in that house. And it's a whole different atmosphere. It's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different everything. And then people are complaining about young people living here and everything else. But the facts of it is, if I let my son inherit this house and he's 45 years old, he can move in here.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
The idea of being 55 plus, truthfully, doesn't really mean that much.
Now, I inherited my mom's house up there when she passed away up and on top of the world, which is 55 plus. And it only took me about 12, 14 months until this ain't for me. I want to do something in the front yard. I'm going to do it. And so I got this place over here in Fruitland Park. But I can tell you this, in going down the road, it's over here in Fruitland, they're putting 700 houses brand new. They're building right behind the Walmart over here. Right across the street from me, they're putting in another 96 right next to where they're building the brand new elementary school over here in Fruitland Park. And like I said, I paid $52 for this, and I've been offered $350 for it all day long, and it's only 800 square foot house.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do. Where does that get you?
No, exactly. My son, after Mom died, the little bit of money she left him, we got him a place up there. North of Denellen up in Rainbow Lakes. We got him an acre of land, 3,000 square foot house, 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 3 car garage. We got that for $43,000, and he's being offered $500,000 for that all day long. I said, son, number one, you own it outright. Ain't none of your buddy. I said, who do you know that owns the house already paid for? You know, you do.
Well,
and, $500,000, you're going to get you a nice trailer and a piece of property, and you're going to be in a trailer instead of a nice concrete house.
Well, I don't know. $500,000 here in the village is buy a pretty damn nice house.
Well, he's only 35. I don't want him over there yet.
Oh, I see. I got to tell you, people do what they want to do with their own money. I don't really care one way or the other, but I look at the frame of mind of what goes on. And I can tell you, when I was in my 20s and 30s, there was no way that I wanted to live around a bunch of old people.
See, my dad, he was a World War II veteran. He was born in 1912. So when he sent him over to World War II over Europe, he was 30. When he got back after the war, he was too old to really take advantage of any of the schooling and stuff they were offering. Towards the Panasovsky area, if you was a veteran from World War II, you could get acres of land out there for, get this, $14 an acre. And Dad and a couple of his buddies got a whole bunch of land out there. And then by the time that Mom and Dad got divorced in the 70s, Dad sold it. And I don't know how much he got for it, but I know it took him a long time at the bank to get all that stuff squared away. So he made a pretty good chunk of money out there back in the day from that land that he had out there way west on 44. He had a bunch of land out there.
Well, that's what real estate property is all about. I mean, if you can make a buck or two on it, I've been lucky to I didn't make a lot, but we made a little bit here and there, it afforded me to have a little bit of extra money to retire. But, you take a guy like Trump, his dad, they did very well doing what they do. So there's nothing wrong with it. But the thing is, you mentioned investors. They were talking last night, specifically about property investors in the state of Florida, not just here, in the state of Florida. And they mentioned the worst, they're all taking a loss. For some reason, they're selling out and they're taking a loss on their property from what they paid for it, say 5 years ago to now. I don't understand how that works, but anyway, they say they're taking a loss and they're leaving. And the worst was Port St. Lucie. Port St. Lucie.
Port St. Lucie, PSL, yep.
They said that the property there is 43% overvalued. Now, I don't know much about Port St. Lucie. Do you?
Your PSL it was almost like a Palm Beach light, a little bit north of Palm Beach over there. And it was a nice, really nice high-end houses, but it's a little bit cheaper to live up there than it was to be down in the Palm Beach area. So that's where you got it's like the other side of Boca. Boca is like south, and PSL was a little bit north of that. So that's what you got over there. But, I mean, Palm Beach area it's cranking out. I used to work for an interior decorator over there for several years, and the money that flows over there is just ridiculous. Well, that's where the Trump man is at over there doing it. But, I mean, the things that I witnessed over in Palm Beach when I worked there, I was working there and happened to be on a courier flight out of Palm Beach going to JFK on 9/11.
Yeah.
I was on an airplane flight. Yeah, I got stuck in Atlanta for 5 days after that. But yeah, it's the economy here has always been on an upswing, even where everywhere else it was a little bit south. But we're going to be all right. I don't think there's going to be a problem with that. But what are you going to live here? We're not fighting snow. Every once in a while we get a bad hurricane. I'm fortunate I live over here in Fruiton Park. We're over 100 feet above sea level. That's why over here.
Well,
I think we're going to be all right, Skip.
We're going to be okay. I know that. I just worry about other people that I know personally that's getting ready to retire, want to retire, and they're talking about moving down to Florida. Maybe not necessarily here, but talking about retiring down to Florida. That they all ask about the same things. I can relate to it. They worry about insurance companies and what's going on down here with that because you hear all kind of mixed reports about it. I can only report what's happening to me in Sioux, and some of the worst reports I hear hasn't happened to us. And I think a lot of the insurance rates that they talk about jumping up, say, 600%, 700%, $10,000, $12,000 a year. That's not necessarily retrospective of everybody in the state of Florida. I think a lot of that are people living on the coastlines where hurricane will just rip you to shreds. So, you have to kind of use your judgment on things. And then grocery prices. I don't shop, you know that. But everybody tells me about grocery prices, and they're all talking about they need another this store, need another that store, and it's always about grocery prices.
Start growing your own groceries. Why not, right? I got a big old garden going right now. I've been starting.
Yeah.
You guys can't do that over there, really, though.
Yes, we can. Absolutely, we can. But I find that things around here don't grow very well, not for what I'm used to. Tomatoes here suck.
Well, see, I always hear you say that. I just finished picking the last batch of my last year's tomatoes about 2 weeks ago as the freezers was supposed to be coming in.
Yeah.
And just now turning nice and red. I got them in a bag with banana. And I'm gonna find my way over to you one day and bring you some Florida tomatoes and gonna change your mind.
Are you gonna have hurt feelings when I tell you it just doesn't taste like what I'm used to?
Well, I'm gonna challenge you to it one day.
Let me ask you this first. Have you ever traveled and had in Indiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Illinois, any of that area up through there, a tomato grown in somebody's garden there?
I had a big garden. I lived up in Tennessee, in Ducktown, Tennessee. I think I told you about that. Right on the corner. It's on the border of Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, right there.
Yeah.
Right down from the Ocoee River. I had a restaurant up there. I had 7 acres, and every year in the summertime, did a nice garden up there. And the tomatoes were good. I'm not going to argue with you, but you can do them down here. You get you some black cow from out there in Summerfield, and mix it in with your dirt over here, and you can come up with a pretty damn decent tomato.
Well, I will say this, Sue gets some lady at the farmer's market down here. I have had a couple of tomatoes that she grows. She calls it river bottom land, wherever that is. And they're better than most. Better than most. But if you go to a grocery store here, a Publix, or I don't even know all the stores, but all of them, they look good on the shelf until you bring them home and cut them open and take a bite. She bought a bag of tomatoes home yesterday. They're red. They look great. They feel firm. They don't have much of a smell to them, though. Anyway, I cut one open, took a bite of it, and I put it back down. I told Sue, I said, "These suck. It tastes like a woody radish. it's like the inside is mush."
Yeah.
Up here where we were at, it's kind of like in the middle of a crowd. Ohio, go ahead.
Am I the nice caller?
Yeah, you were it.
What's going on, Skippy?
Nothing. Just wasting time. Bored. It's cold out. Can't get outside to do anything. I got all the videos that I had here edited for this week, so I'm done with that. And then I got an email from my son or cousin that lives in Rockport, Texas, and he sent me pictures of snow. I thought, no way is there snow that far south. And so I got on YouTube and I'm looking around. There's a couple of guys I know that drive around. That's how they make their money with super chats and things, as they drive around live in their cars during snow or during storms, any kind of storm. And I go there, and sure enough, they're driving around. Where was it? They were driving around, Lake Charles, Louisiana, which I've boondocked there many times. It's there by it. And there's like 4 or 5 inches of snow on the ground. It's still coming down.
That's on the Gulf of America, right?
Yeah, right on the Gulf of America. I like that, don't you? I can't wait till we change Greenland to another name.
Trumpland.
So did you watch the inauguration yesterday?
I watched a little bit of it, that in the football game, and you know what? I when the football game was getting boring, I switched over, and Trump was in the Oval Office signing everything and was holding court with the press. And I actually enjoyed that. I'm not a big political guy, but I thought it was refreshing to have Trump talk about his plans and, commenting, and the press commented about, we haven't done this for 4 years, talking to the president directly and, about what he wants to do with Twitter and all kinds of other things. But,
the thing that I really liked about that, when he was signing them executive orders and he was talking to the news reporters and taking questions, just that whole way of doing it differently. The executive orders is something that he could do or not do. I mean, that's up to him anyway. But just to be able to sit down the way he did, he wasn't yelling, he wasn't screaming, he wasn't making very many crazy comments like he's known to do. It was just like a room of a bunch of guys just talking, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
Yeah, especially when Ducey gets in there. He has a way, He's got his way.
Well, we'll see.
So,
we'll see. I sent you a message about the news. It'd be interesting to see when everything starts kicking in, about many of the people that you get caught may not be legal.
Well, we'll see.
What happens?
We'll see.
Yeah.
They can only come up with a plan, but I think most of us, we've all got common sense. When he talks about deporting, God, who knows? The number's crazy. You hear numbers all over the place. 13 million of them. No, we got 27 million illegals. Goes on and on and on. And they say, we're going to deport every one of them. Well, let's say they deport half that many, whatever the number is. They're not going to do that overnight. It takes time.
Right.
So I'm not worrying about it. I figure if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. But I believe that's number one on this agenda. I mean, if he doesn't do that, that means that he kind of lied to the American public, and I don't think he wants to be known for that.
Right.
So what part of Ohio are you in?
Columbus.
That's right. You got snow yet?
Oh, yeah. It's snow that's been left over from, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it's just cold. It's maybe 7 degrees right now.
You say snow left over from 2 and 3 weeks ago?
Yeah. it's been cold for that long where it doesn't melt off.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. Usually snow don't last that long. The snowplows get out there and take care of it.
Right. I mean, it's not on the streets, but on the grass and everything. But usually, 1 week it's real cold, and the next week it melts off. But it's been cold.
Yeah. Well, just look at it this way. It'll go away soon.
Yeah.
I mean,
hopefully next year we'll be down there. But
this is the end of January. I don't know how it is in Ohio, but from what I can remember, usually around the 1st of March, we have that one last little burst of snow during basketball sectional time, and then that's about it. Then it starts warming up.
I wanted to see him exercising. I think that was a comment, but that you probably couldn't find any.
No, I think he does. Truthfully, I think him and his wife. I think his wife makes him because he's kind of panty whipped. Whatever his wife says. Yeah, she snaps her fingers. He jumps. Oh yeah. Trust me. And if he said, "Boy, I'm really hungry," she said, "Well, here, I'm going to make this for you to eat." And he can look at it. He don't dare say, "I don't like that." That ain't happening.
Tofu burgers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Tofu meat. I don't even know what that is. Good Lord. I mean, this is crazy. So what is your favorite seafood restaurant here? Never got your answer. Inquiring minds want to. Years ago, until they closed it down, believe it or not, some of the better seafood here was actually Red Lobster. I know what you're going to say, but I'm telling you, that was some of the best seafood here. And then the prices went nuts for some reason. All of a sudden, ask anybody here, all of a sudden the seafood prices like tripled over a matter of a year or two. And in some cases, is there such a word as forple? It forpled. And I quit going. I used to get the seafood feast, something like that. Hey, we had crab legs and lobster tail and shrimp, all that stuff on there. And it was like $18 a plate. And it went to $20 and then $22. And the last time I went there was $44. And I decided that's it. Yes, that's it. I'm not. So now when we get seafood and then get fixed, we actually get in the car, drive down to Punta Gorda, and go to the villages shopping thing there, outside shopping villages, something, Fisherman's Village. And it's an outside shopping thing or over the water. It's a cool place. Clear to the end of that is 2 restaurants. One restaurant's called Harpoon Harry's. I go in there to get fresh seafood because the seafood boats or fishing boats, there's a dock right next to Harpoon Harry's. And you can actually watch the chef in the kitchen go out on them boats, and he'll go in there and he'll get what he wants and carry it back into the kitchen. That's some fresh shit right there.
That's the best.
Yeah. I thought I knew what oysters tasted like until I got them there. They're strong.
You been to O'Shucks lately?
No, I haven't been over there lately. Generally, this time of year, it gets pretty damn busy over there, and I'm not one for crowds. And the problem with O'Shucks for me is the fact that for where I live, I got to come in off of 44, turn left on 301, and O'Shucks is right there on your left, right there by that stoplight. Yeah. But the traffic gets backed up to the point you can't, and there's a media strip there, you can't turn left. So you got to go down and make a U-turn in a left turn lane that goes into some other area. But the traffic is backed up so far there, you can't even hardly make a U-turn to get over to O'Shucks. So it gets kind of confusing. And, so if I go to O'Shucks, it's generally at a really oddball time of the day that nobody goes to eat. Everybody around here is like herd animals. Breakfast at 7, lunch at noon, dinner at 6. I mean, that's what they do. So if I have lunch with anybody, I pick an oddball time. I'll say, okay, I'll meet you for lunch at 1 or 2 o'clock somewhere. It's an oddball time.
Yeah.
So when you coming down?
We're trying to buy a house, but we missed out on another one. We're in the lotto. So we've missed out on, I think that's number 8.
You're doing what now?
In a lotto to buy a house.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, it's for the new ones.
What, you can't buy a new house here now unless you're in a lottery?
So if more than one person wants that house or that lot, it's a lottery.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's the damnest thing I ever heard.
Yeah. So yeah, more than one person could want a home. Now these are mostly, the primo lots, the ones on a lake or the golf course or a corner lot. We've been looking at the verandas, which are the, designer homes with fences.
Right.
So, and they're pretty hot. I know we were in on, I don't know, 5 of them in Richmond when they were finishing off that area, and there were somewhere between 30 and 50 people in the lottery for each house.
That's the first I heard of it. I'm going to have to stick my nose in there and try to figure out, how that works. Never
So
heard
essentially, our village's realtor, sales agent, they get released like at noon. They know what is being released that next morning at 8 a.m. They let us know what lot number it is because they've given us a kind of a map of all the lots and tells us the price because they don't know until noon before it's released, and then we have to figure whether we want to put our name in, and you don't get image of the house, you don't know what it's worth, but you know what model it is, but that's it. You don't know what color, you don't know anything. So lately we've had when they talk about releasing an area, we have the realtor go look at the models that we like ahead of time.
Is that only on certain models?
These, it could be any model, but the verandas are the most popular.
All right, man. I got another call coming in.
All right.
See you, man. Thanks for calling.
Later. Yeah.
New York.
Hey, are you on live now still?
Yeah.
Hey, just heard we're watching your channel, calling from actually New Jersey. We're thinking about moving down there. And we just watched the show on the lotto, caught up to it. I don't know if that was a live guy talking or not, but I have a little bit more to add to that if you want to know more.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
Yeah, it's about, first of all, I love your content. And I think your former law enforcement love that too about you. So thanks for that. But the lotto is any new home that's on, you can bid up to 3 houses. They're called home sites, preferences, first, second, and third choice. And what we're trying to figure out now from the villages is, and like the gentleman said, you maybe 100 people bidding on the same house. So the chances of you getting are very, very slim. And the villages realtors have to be in the office to do this at 8 a.m. So a lot of them come in hours before, sometimes 5 a.m., 6 a.m. to get there, to get a computer so they can reserve to bid on a house. And if you get it, you get 3 hours to buy. If you don't put down the 10%, that is 10% down payment. If you don't put the 10% down payment down within that 3 hours, it goes to the next person in the list, and so forth. And it's sort of a non-transparent way of doing this because we don't know how, for example, if we bid on lot 16 and someone else bids on lot 16 as our second choice, and we bid on it as our first, do we all get grouped together, or does it go first choice first, second choice second, or does it go by person? It's really untransparent, not transparent at all.
Wow, man, that sounds more like an auction.
It is. And I think we're actually hearing anecdotally too that people that have bid that are in the villages like yourself, and you want to bid on a new construction, new house, you have a better shot at doing so because if you think about it, the villages can collect both commissions, right? They can sell your house and they can sell you the new house. So
I can tell you I don't know if they still got the same rule. I think they do. And I don't know anything about this auction, if that plays into this or not. But when I sold my first house and we bought this house, they give you 1% cash back after the closing.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they came to
that's nice.
The realtor came to the house, knocked on the door, and handed me an envelope with money in it.
Well, that may be something you want to tell to your channel, but that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know. I'm assuming it's fair because there is. They don't jack up the prices like that gentleman was saying. We're looking at verandas too, and you get to pick on your lots which house it's really the model. So it applies to everything. Verandas, now designers, and now the premiers are lumped in with those designers, as you probably know. Even the patio villas that they have out, those you can bid on new too. And a lot of people do. So you look online, you find a lot, your realtor knows, you say, I want this lot. And then he tells you the day before, 12 o'clock the day before, they tell you, like today, he tells us what's on tomorrow. And he told us, I forget, 2 or 3 that none that we wanted. We want a bigger yard because we have dogs. And so, that's what we're thinking of doing. But you just got to be ready to go. And like that gentleman said, people miss out 8, 9, 10 times in a row, which I think those people, like that gentleman, should have a preference or priority, for getting a home the next time he bids versus someone like myself. It's my first time bidding.
We've always told people, before I heard about this, we've always told people that if you're looking for a home down here, especially when houses were selling better than they are now,
right?
That if you come down and you're looking, take your checkbook and be ready to pull the trigger, because every real estate person here has a little black book, I call it, as you well know, and it's just like this bidding thing. It sounds like, you don't get it, you don't put the money down, we're going to number 2 guy. That's how it works. They don't fool around.
And they do that now. Our realtor showed us, a really nice gentleman. He showed us he took a picture with his phone and sent us a screenshot of what their computers are like. It's not internet. This is AS400, if you're familiar with that old technology, pre-internet computer stuff, where they literally have to be in and push the enter key at 8 o'clock. It's almost like akin to like buying tickets for a good concert. Major concerts come and, the Eagles are playing or something, or Super Bowl, and they go on sale at this time and this price, and everybody got to get in and sign up. What would be better is if you could sign up ahead of time and everybody knows what number they are, and then it just randomly shows the lottery, shows it so people don't have to get in the office and people can be much more transparent about how many people are actually bidding and that sort of thing.
Or look for a scalper.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Well, I say that jokingly, but think about this. If he's auctioning off houses, if they're in that big of a demand, is there like a reserve bid? In other words, you got to bid above his reserve bid or you don't get it?
No, there's nothing like that. It's not a bid. The village just comes out and says, this model's going tomorrow. Price is $425, $585, whatever it is. The highest you've seen is around, and some of them have, pools already. They'll tell you what it is. They'll tell you what's inside of it. But it's not. There's some things I think you can add to it. It's the model, right? It's in a way you can pick your finishes a little bit, but pretty much the floors are set, the countertops are set, and all that. And you can see the lot online. So Water's Edge is an area we're looking at in the the new area by Eastport. There's a number of others that are coming around Eastport that are going to be red hot too. And all those lots are going to have, I would say, 50, 60 people bidding on them at once. And there really isn't, and they're going to say, this is the price, and whoever gets it gets that price, or they don't want it. Nobody else can bid on it until it goes down the line, unless they put the 10% down, whoever wins it. Now, what I'm confused by is if I'm bidder, 24, let's say my number is 24, and bidder 25 is there too. If I get picked, does it choose my A, B, and C choices, or does it go everybody that's bidding on house A? 25 and I are bidding on house A. Here's how we're going to auction that off. Does it go house by house or does it go bidder by bidder? You see what I'm saying? And then ultimately, I think it goes, in my opinion, house by house, because they don't want, they want to sell the houses, right? They don't go bidder by bidder, because there's an option then that someone could pick a house that in one of the situations where you'd have more people bidding on different houses than you would, or in other words, you would have someone get a house that's a higher priority, that they would be, if they bid on it for, let's say, first or second choice, and they'd be just as fine with their third choice. But if they win their first or second choice, they wouldn't get assigned that choice in the option way, right? So there's maybe only one person bids on this last choice, third choice, but this person would take it. The villagers would happily sell that, I'm sure. But if they did it house by house, I think it's going person by person, because if they did it house by house, there would be a chance where people may not bid on the house, if you will. I don't know if I'm saying it the right way, but I just don't understand the algorithm behind how they process these things, because they're bidding the Street of Dreams right now. Those, not Street of Dreams, but the houses you visit when you go to your, visit, your 4 or 5 day visit, they let those go this week too. And those are hot because I think those are fully furnished too. So if you stayed in one of them and you want to bid on it, you can buy it.
Yeah, well, that's pretty typical of them doing that. But I just don't understand this bidding thing. That just freaks my mind out. As big a demand of stuff is around here, I'm not sure what.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a bid. I would call it more. I misspoke there. I'd probably call it more of a lottery system where you just submit. We want these three options, and then
Yeah, well,
literally your
I'll tell you what.
will tell you.
Tell you what it almost sounds like to me. Like they're taking an area,
Yep.
the village of whatever,
Yep.
and in that area there's say 300 homes, and they want to control what homes sell first and what homes are
Yep.
going to sell last.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like you look at Water's Edge as an example. There's 32 or 34 homes in this little area, Water's Edge, and they started. We're putting 30 today. This morning, number 1, number 3, and number 31 went on. Last week they started. They had I think 32, number 8, and number 5 randomly, and then one day they just had one. It was like 16. Farther down the street. Like, why is that one just by itself? It was just really 1 or 2 per house per week. They weren't like numbered, and they weren't neighbor to neighbor. They were one at a time, going kind of. To your point, they're definitely choosing which houses go when, and they're all built because they're all in the same neighborhood. So all the infrastructure and everything else is there for that house. There's no reason why they can't release them all at once or release them all sequentially or some other way. But it seems like they're doing it, picking and choosing which houses go when.
Well, I know.
Very, very interesting. I'd love to know more about it.
Well, I know in our area that they did that, but it wasn't a lottery thing. The developer only released 3 homes at a time. Once the real estate people got them sold, then he would release 3 more. And when we moved in our neighborhood, it's a lot like what you're saying. The homes are here. The grass was there. They're watered the grass. There's nothing else to do. And they're showing us these 3 homes, which basically they were all 3 the same thing. And
but they weren't all the same. They weren't next to each other, right? They weren't adjacent.
No,
they were maybe one here, one, right, all over.
They were scattered around. And I pointed at other homes. I say, because all the houses they showed me did not have a golf cart garage. And I had it in my head, I wanted a golf cart garage. And I said, well, what about that one over there? And she said, well, we can't sell that yet. So why not? Right there it is. And she says, well, the developer has to release it. I said, okay, when's he going to release it? We don't know. How much is he going to want for it? We don't know that until he releases it. I mean, this is the story we kept getting. And I asked him, I said, why is that? Why can't I just come in this neighborhood and pick a house out because they're all here? She said, take it for what it's worth. She said, we don't want to do that because we don't want 50 semi trucks of furniture showing up at the same time to put stuff in people's houses.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Or you could see this slow rolling it, right, to see what sells, what doesn't sell, what they get bids on, what they don't get bids on.
Yeah.
But I think this is exactly what you're saying is exactly what's happening now, only they're doing it right at the time it goes on sale. So they released these houses, like in your case, they released them at the same time, 8 a.m. that day. So they didn't know till 8 a.m. But maybe there wasn't the demand that it was when you bought that there is now, because people are seeing it, and people have these drones and all that online. We can see everything.
Yeah.
And we say, oh, I like that house, and you can see the maps. And then you tell your realtor that I want that one. And so you have an earmark, number 52 or whatever, or 18 or whatever unit you really want. It's the same house. It's a Mayfair. It's a whatever, but it maybe has a little bit bigger yard, or maybe it's a corner lot. It has to have a golf cart garage, and it's got these things. And so you have that in your mind, and that's when you're going to bid on. And then that realtor will tell you every day. They'll look to see when that one's getting released. They'll let you know, and they'll be in the office for you by 8 a.m. They really have to be in the office because they can't, dial in, do it from home. And they'll sit there and push the button. And, our realtor said he won the one today, but it was this person's third choice. And I said, well, and he said, there were only 6 people that bid on that house. And this house was a veranda, but it had, I don't know why you get a veranda with a 0 backyard, small backyard. And I said, why would you want a veranda with such a small or no backyard? Right? There's grass, but it's like 4 foot of grass back there. And then you got a fence. I mean, it's a little bit more privacy, I guess. But only 6 people bid on that one. And that was his third preference. And I said, well, was he in the lottery for the other 2, first and second choice? How did that work? Because honestly, maybe we'd be better off bidding just 1 at a time rather than 3 bids at a time. Because if we, like I said, if we bid 3 at a time, would we lower our chances of winning the house that we really want?
Well, I don't know.
If we really, what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right. And I think the same way you bid for, I don't bid, but there's point system with golf. I don't golf, but I hear that if you golf a lot or if you don't show up your tee time, you get points. It's like points on your driver's license, right? Which makes sense. and then higher number of points, the less chance you have to get your tee time. Totally makes sense. Same thing for this, in my opinion. It should be people. I've heard people that bid 22 times in a row, or 22 times they lost in the house, and so they're staying with friends and neighbors, and they're paying out the nose for trying to find a new house. And then you got to ask the question: is it really worth getting a new house at that point?
I don't know. I don't have I don't have the patience for that. 22 times, I'd say, the hell with this. Exactly. I'll go somewhere else.
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying is the villages then shooting themselves in the foot a bit, because you're going to lose people that are going to other places, other retirement, because or is such a demand that's there, because like you said, there's increasing existing homes now. They're building so much. Obviously, they're slowing that down a little, but there's so many 500 plus 600 now homes, I think, on existing lots that you can see. Now those have a premium to them, but you stand a better chance of getting the one you want there because you actually go see it. You pay again a little bit more for it, and the warranty is lower. But then your bond sometimes is paid off or paid down, and that's the other thing people don't really realize is the bond payment. So it's 6 to 1, half a dozen. You got to really, as you're looking to buy in the villages now as a new person, I wouldn't say new buyer, but maybe just new person. Do you want a new home with a $48,000 bond? That's what they're going for now, $40,000. Or do you want an existing home with maybe a $20,000 bond or $25,000? Less than warranty, but higher down payment price. So,
well, the warranty thing. I got my revisions on that too, because I've had warranty claims and they're not what you think they are.
Okay.
Like all the windows in your house are guaranteed for 10 years, and they are. That if the gas leaking between the 2 panels of glass, whatever you want to call that, if it leaks out, it fogs up in there.
Yeah.
We have one in the kitchen that's starting to do that, and we called about the warranty. Well, the company provided that glass doesn't do warranty anymore. They sold it to Romac down here. You call Romac, and they say, "Yeah, we'll replace that glass, but it's $500 labor."
Jeez.
The ceiling in my garage, I did video on it, showing how the plaster is falling off the seams in the ceiling in my garage. When I called about that to the labor department, about it's not right. Oh, well, the ceilings aren't guaranteed; they're not warranted.
What?
Yeah. And that's
crazy.
This is what happens. So you got to have these questions sometimes. Well, what the hell is under warranty? It says that the structure has a 10-year warranty. Well, the ceiling apparently is not part of the structure.
Or the interior, maybe.
So I got my doubts. I will say, though, we were having trouble with the air conditioner when we first moved in. We got a heat pump. And it was making a funny noise. It wasn't bad, but it was the noise. I noticed that all the other people around me, when theirs came on, didn't have this noise. And so I called warranty about it. And she says, well, if it's working, there's nothing we can do. I said, but it's got a noise. Something's wrong. But is it keeping the house cool? Yes. Well, there's nothing we can do. So, so I called an air conditioning guy on my own. The people that actually installed it, I called them up. I said, I don't care. I will pay. I want to know if this thing's right. He come over and he tore it apart. And the kid put up all these little, I don't know what you call them, gadgets. He hooked it to this line, hooked it to that line. He came inside the garage where the air mover's at, hooked stuff up in there. And he's been here for a while. And finally I walked out there and I said, well, how are we doing? Because I thought he's been here too long. And he goes, there's something wrong here. He said, I don't know what it is. He said, I can't figure this out. I'm going to call my supervisor. I said, okay. So I'm walking the house thinking, they're going to find out what's wrong now. So the supervisor shows up, an older guy. He walks right over there. I walk outside to I don't want to bother him while they're working. But I kind of walked out in the driveway and I'm just kind of standing there and he comes walking back around. I said, so what's the verdict? He said, you need a new compressor. I said, oh my God, how long is that going to take? He said, we'll have you one tomorrow. And by God, next day they put a new one in, noise went away.
Under warranty?
No, it doesn't start. Okay. No, I asked about that. I said, it's now I got a new compressor. Does my 10-year warranty start? Oh, it's a 5-year. 5-year warranty start over on that? And he goes, no. Whatever's left over from the other one.
Wow. Jeez. Yeah. All these things you got to look out for. We watched another video of, people that aren't fixing to come down there, of course, and they go down, they look at the villages, whatever the tour is the first time you get on, they give you that sheet that says, okay, your budget this for your monthly expenses, right? $195, now it's $199 for your annual dues, your HO, not HOAs, but your amenity fee, roughly $20 a month for water, sewer, blah, blah, blah. Electricity, insurance has gone up, of course. But they don't tell you is there's I'm sure you maybe remember this too, but they don't tell you there's irrigation line, right, which is separate from your water, which is only about $12 a month, but still the principle of having that not included in your water bill, right, and you have to pay it. Whether or not you water that month, they're paying $12 a month.
Right.
And if you do have to water, if you do have a big lawn, that's another big thing. With the dogs, we're like, well, maybe we don't want such a big lawn because in August we'll have to water and pay $150 a month for that, or whatever it's going to cost just for the irrigation. Because I guess I've heard, this is just a few people that we talked to said potable water there is much less expensive than the irrigation water. It's almost 4 times as costly because they got that irrigation line's, I guess, I don't know, more expensive or whatever. Well, things like that kind of like irk you. You're like, well, wait a minute, hold on.
That could be true. I don't know that it is. I don't pay attention to the bills. Sue takes care of that. But here's one thing that I heard. You hear things all the time, but you don't know if they're true or not. Is that when they developed this, the line that the water you use to water your grass comes from a retention pond or a swamp.
Yes, that's what I've heard too.
That line, the developer owns that.
Oh.
And the water that goes in your house is city water.
I see.
So if that's true, you can kind of figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And who's the developer, by the way? Who owns the concrete company? Who owns the cement company? Who owns the banks?
I wish I should investigate some of this, but I just don't, because this is a good old boy system here. It's here. It's strong. When they talk about, well, this outside company is going to build this apartment house, I wondered, is that another company that the developer owns or is part of?
Correct.
You got to wonder this thing, because I can show you at least 2 neighborhoods that I know of that's not in the villages that was built by the villages. I know that for facts.
Correct. Yep.
So
there's one up by north of Spanish Springs there, and I think further east. I'm not mistaken. I saw drone footage of it. That's coming. It's built by the villages. It's not owned by it's owned by the villages, not part of the villages, I guess. So there's things like that, and that's totally fine. But just be transparent is all I'd asked, right? And when people like me try and find out, well, what is this lottery system? How does it work? Do I preference one to? Let's say there's 10 people bidding on houses, and we all want the same one house. Let's say, but everybody is 2 and 3 on that house, and someone's number 1. I think that the person that bids at number 1 as their first choice should get it. If it's my second or third choice, let the person that's first choice get it. But that's not how it works. I mean, just be transparent, I guess, with how this process works. I got
to tell you, just what you're saying, I have no freaking idea how it works.
Yeah. Well, I encourage you to look into it. If you have a chance to talk about it, it'd be a pretty interesting video. But I will let you run. It's fantastic talking to you.
Right,
and
man.
Keep up the great work and great content. I just turned 50, and I'm thinking about moving down there. That's how excited I am about living down there. But it's more about the lifestyle and love your content. So thanks. Keep it up.
50's okay. Keep watching and come down and call when I do. I don't do this all the time, but when I do it, call back anytime.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, man.
Great day.
See ya. All right, I think I'm going to get out of here. I think WrestleMania, I can hear Healthy Home Cooking hollering at him, telling him his tofu is ready, along with his tofu soup and his tofu drink. All right, don't forget the thumbs up. Don't forget, if you're not subscribed, to subscribe, please. Tomorrow will be porch setting. Starts at noon-ish. Could be a couple minutes before noon. Could be a couple minutes after noon. I'm sure the regular crew will be there. Wrestler will be there. Jerry will be there. Missy will probably be there. All the people you see on here, generally speaking, will be on porch sitting. Porch sitting Sue will be there. So if you got anything to ask her about things, because she knows more about things than I do, really. Bills, if you're asking me how much the water bill is, I have no idea. Ask me how much property taxes is, I don't know. I don't even want to know. But she's the one that can tell you if you want to talk about where do you get furniture, where's the best deal for groceries or whatever. I don't know. She gets all that. So she'll be here tomorrow at noon. We're more than glad to talk to you anytime at all. So thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. I'm sorry I goofed up here a little bit, but this is a whole new system for me. I ain't used this system in a long time. You can ask Wrestler. He hasn't either. But I did. I'm looking at it now. It is streaming to me, and it's streaming on WrestleMania's channel too. But he can do what he wants to do with it. He can delete it, hide it, whatever he wants to do with it. So with that, I'm just going to say, see you all. Thanks for coming.